Y'all, as you can hear from the sound of my voice, I have not been so happy in my entire life than last night at WrestleMania. And I do have my WrestleMania review already done. I just got to edit it and set it up, and I'm probably going to upload it tomorrow. But this is all about Monday Night Raw. Last night, y'all, was the beginning of change. It was a beginning of taking out the old and bringing in the new. Pretty much ringing in the new. Everybody last night was a champ. Everybody that was a champion, except for maybe one match, was actually, or they were all new. They came from NXT. But I would say tonight was definitely an NXT invasion. I have not been so happy in my life. Daniel Bryan came out, pretty much did a great promo. As usual, you got Triple H pretty much playing the typical heel, coming out saying he's going to have a rematch. I had a little bit of problem with that at the end, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Cesaro, now being a Paul Heyman guy. You can't really say that that's actually a face turn. More than likely, that's just a turn of career. And I'm kind of happy that he finally left Zeb Coulter, and I kind of knew that that was going to happen as well. And I don't know, like seriously, when he had a random match between him and Jack Swagger, I was only thinking the Princess Bride. You know, my name is Antonio Cesaro. You broke my trophy. Be prepared to die. That's the only thing I was thinking of the whole time. But honestly, y'all, I'm really happy that Cesaro won. I'm happy that Cesaro pretty much came out on top, but I am happy to see him be a Paul Heyman guy. And speaking of Paul Heyman, I think that was probably the best segment I've ever seen Paul Heyman do. He's done a lot of great segments, and honestly, he brought the heat, and Brock Lesnar could take it. And it was all over the world. The response was overwhelming, and I'll get into that in my WrestleMania review that I'm going to upload tomorrow about the response of the entire crowd. But besides all that, Brock Lesnar, he took the heat and he took it well. And Paul Heyman really knew how to give it. And I loved it. I loved that entire moment. And it was nice to see the Ultimate Warrior come out again. I wanted to see him sprint down the ring, but I know that's probably something he can't do anymore. So, but it was nice to see him like jerk the ropes and everything, and hear him talk like the Ultimate Warrior like he used to. It was nice, very nostalgic for me, and I enjoyed it. I really did. The crowd was a lot more into it than they were last night. They were kind of sort of dead throughout most of the matches at WrestleMania 30, but tonight they were full of fire. They were full of fire and flair, following the buzzards and everything. And honestly, y'all, speaking of following the buzzards, seeing we had two people that were in the battle royal, and then we had John Cena. I think I think it was Sheamus. Yeah, it was Sheamus and Big E and John Cena versus the Wyatt family. Y'all, they are literally awesome at in-ring psychology. They freaked out everybody. The fact that they showed John Cena laying down on the ramp, scared to death of Bray Wyatt, out in when he was inside the ring, was probably one of the best shots I've ever seen. Like seriously, the best reaction shot you have seen of somebody that's really scared. I'm really hoping that they actually do continue this feud and don't give up on it until at least SummerSlam. But let's be real, I don't think anything could be extended out that long. But you could tell how Bray Wyatt's character was not affected at all about what happened last night, which makes me really happy. Bray Wyatt's character is on fire. Not only that, I have never seen a psychotic faction with this much demand that he gets from the crowd. And I mean, this guy can literally freak you out when you're not even there. I'm highly impressed with his character, seriously. And I'm really hoping that he continues to play with the mind of John Cena, to actually try to literally freak out John Cena, to try to mess with his usual thing. He literally tried to make him heel last night, and I'm hoping that that can actually happen. Like seriously, I'm hoping that he brings out the Dark Cena, because I really am kind of tired of him playing hero when he's really not acting like one. Come on, let's be real. But y'all, what was even better for me is that we had so much NXT people, and good NXT people. Yeah, we had the debut of Alexander Rusev, and it's sad that a Bulgarian is actually pretty much booked as a Russian, because we all know what Vince McMahon does to Russians. And I'm not talking about Lana. I know she's Russian, but I know Alexander Rusev is Bulgarian, but he's going to be booked as a Russian. But for some reason, you just can't you can't help but think about Drago on Rock. I think it was with Rocky 4, either Rocky 3 or Rocky 4, one of the Rockies. You can't think of Alexander Rusev without thinking of Drago. Like I think of him like I must break you. Like seriously, that's and I think somebody on Twitter actually pointed that out pretty well. And it's true, he kind of reminds you of Drago. But besides all that, I will say that I'm really not impressed with Alexander Rusev. Don't get me wrong, he's gonna be booked as a monster, but it's gonna fade out really fast because he is Bulgarian and they're gonna book him as a Russian. Look at what they did with Vladimir Kozlov. Enough said. It's only gonna last a few months and he's gonna die out. But he's only as good as his woman. And the fact that Lana is that attractive lets me know that he might be around for a lot longer than 3 months. But moving on from there, we had a couple of random matches with people that should have been at WrestleMania last night. Number one, RVD, and number two, Bad News Barrett, or BNB. RVD and BNB. But either or, they should have been in a battle royal last night, and I don't know why they weren't. I actually thought that he was injured, and if he was injured, then he wouldn't be in a match tonight. It would have been nice to actually see him in a battle royal. He wouldn't have won, but either or, it would have been nice to see him there. And as for RVD just being there randomly, yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, yay. What's the purpose of you being there? But I don't know. The usual RVD, I win, RVD match, whatever. But it was nice to see Bad News Barrett actually beat somebody, especially if it's Rey Mysterio. It was nice to actually see him beat a vet. It was nice. I was happy about that. Really happy. But not as happy as the Diva segment. Because I don't know if I said this in my review, but regards to that, I really had concerns about the Divas Invitational. After the streak, you were emotionally drained. But anyway, I'm getting into a whole new review again. But either or, I really had concern about the Divas division after watching WrestleMania 30 last night. But then seeing how AJ Lee pretty much decimated all of them, you kind of wonder, okay, what's next? Good grief that somebody called on Twitter. Here comes Paige. Makes me so happy. It make Paige look weak at first, but then, because Paige would come out and just say whatever she wants to say. But then she ended up being on Raw. She was kind of humble, a lot more humble than I expected. But either or, she did a Paige Turner and ended up taking the belt from AJ that night. Makes me so happy! Finally, the Anti-Diva is actually going to be on Raw. You have no idea how crunk I was. I love Paige. And now we got Paige and Emma on Raw? Even better. Which means she's going to drop that Santino. I love Santino. Don't get me wrong. I love Santino. But I'm going to be so happy when Emma drops him. And I really hope that somehow they bring the rivalry to Raw. Because we need it. That was the best rivalry on NXT. Bring it. Book it now. But, okay, I'm going to calm down. But I will say this. The only thing that bothers me towards the end of the show was the fact that we literally had, seriously, it doesn't feel like the old Cerebral Assassin. It doesn't. He never really had to depend a lot on people to get the job done. Sure, you had the New Age Outlaws come out there eventually, and people from DX, when DX was a massive unit, they come out and do a little bit of something, but he would always handle it on his own. He's not the Cerebral Assassin of old. He's heavily too dependent on people around him. And that bothers me. And that, especially with Stephanie's there. I just feel like they're having a giant entourage and Stephanie being there to control the shots is downgrading the Cerebral Assassin. There's nothing wrong with her personally as a heel. But I like that when she was separate from him and he did stuff on his own and she did stuff on her own. I like that. But the thing is that it just seemed like she's downgrading the Cerebral Assassin. It bothered me. And that entire event went on a little bit slow. They tried to make it kind of a story in the ring, but it's nice in the end that Daniel Bryan got his comeuppance. And you cannot say that the Shield did a face turn. They didn't do a face turn. I consider them to be anti-heroes. They follow the beat of their own drum. And they have their own vision of what justice is. So they're pretty much an anti-hero faction, if you honestly would think about it, maybe in that way. But either or, it wasn't a bad show. I enjoyed it. It really was a great Raw after WrestleMania. I enjoyed every moment of it, especially Ultimate Warrior coming out, and especially seeing Hulk Hogan giving Cesaro the trophy. I like that as well, y'all. And they actually handled the whole streak thing really well. Even though there's a story saying that Vince said it was a fluke, whatever. I don't think anybody that has that much power. But besides all that, y'all, on the real, this was a really great Raw after WrestleMania. They did a good job in keeping everything going, keeping everything fresh. And y'all, the main theme of last night was saying goodbye to the old and ringing in the new. They did that not only last night, but they did that tonight on Raw, and I think they're doing a great job trying to promote the newest talent to try to take over for the older ones. But guys, I want to hear your personal thoughts about tonight's Raw. Leave a comment in the comment section below, or send me a video response on how you feel about Raw and what you think about it personally, especially the whole NXT invasion, and how you think that how you think Raw in the future is going to turn out. This is Next Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.